hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifesting. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my psyche.
One common complaint that I see often when it comes to members of Boruto's generation is that they all seem to have several changes in chakra nature and they seem to be learning jutsu way too fast. Well, what if I told you that Inojin, the son of Sai, the current leader of the Anbu, and Ino, the current leader of Konoha's barrier team, what if I told you that Inojin is the one character who breaks the mold and in some ways can actually relate to Boruto's pressure of having famous parents that he needs to live up to? Given that the Boruto anime is about to have us explore Inojin's training with Ino to attempt to master the mind transfer jutsu, which he previously failed at, I thought now would be a good time to go over the true power of Inojin. Now, as previously stated, Inojin does have some pretty big shoes to fill. His father, Sai, despite getting dumped on constantly by fans such as myself who don't particularly care for Sai's character, Sai put in enough work early on in Kakashi's Hokage administration that the Shinobi Alliance gave him his own specific rank that only Sai has. While the details of what that rank is aren't necessarily given to us, the fact that Sai has his own exclusive rank is something I find pretty fascinating. Now, the other thing is that Sai is also the leader of Konoha's Anbu division, which we do know based on the information that's given to us in Boruto during the Kawaki arc, I believe during chapter 35 or chapter 36. Inojin's mother, Ino, is a bit underrated by fans as well. When it comes to her abilities, she pulled off one impressive feat when she managed to connect all the minds of the Shinobi Alliance simultaneously, which not even her father, someone who's more experienced with the Yamanaka clan jutsu, was able to do, and Ino did it without the assistance of machines which her father needed to have in order to communicate with several divisions at the same time. Now, Inojin's parents might not be the saviors of the world, like Naruto during the Fourth Shinobi World War, during Naruto the Last and Boruto the movie, and Hinata like when she was in Naruto the Last and she gave Naruto the opportunity to destroy the Tenseigan bomb that Tsunade had created, but they're still pretty impressive people when you look at them for what they've done. Now, we saw Boruto take this pressure and turn it into him learning 3 changes in chakra nature before the events of the Boruto movie. Inojin, on the other hand, not so much. He's literally the first person from this new generation who I've covered who doesn't know any of the changes in chakra nature. On top of that, not only that, but as shown earlier on in the anime around episode 35, Inojin's training differs from the approach that his parents took. Ino and Sai both took a more traditional approach to their training, and in Sai's case, training en route under Danzo took traditional to the point where you could really call it extreme. Maybe it's a byproduct of growing up in this peaceful era, but Inojin attempts to learn the jutsu of his parents, but when he does so, he focuses more on making the jutsu flashier, making them more stylish, making them more modern than what his parents did. His parents went for more practical, more of a useful type of a situation. They went for more of a minimalist approach when it came to how their jutsu looked. They only cared about how effective the jutsu were. In the anime, they go as far as making it clear that if Inojin is left to his own devices, that he could one day seek to use his ninjutsu in a way to make money that isn't necessarily something that a ninja would traditionally do. So while Inojin's a bit of a hustler, that's something that his parents will probably frown upon. However, to his credit though, Inojin isn't all flash and no bite. Despite not being trained to learn any type of elemental ninjutsu, Sai and Ino doubled down on making him learn advanced shuriken jutsu and how to fight with weapons, in particular a sword, before Inojin even went into the academy. In some ways, when you look at the combat training that he's received, you can definitely see Sai's influence on him, and because of those advanced shuriken jutsu and swordplay, those are things that Inojin would have learned if he would have been in the Anbu, in particular if he would have been en route learning under Danzo. You can further see how closely Sai has overseen his training when you realize that Inojin can already seal his targets inside of his scrolls, just as Sai once planned to seal Madoru Uchiha in one of his scrolls before Madoru was brought back to life. Inojin also employs the method of mixing explosive tags into his drawings, which makes them even deadlier when it comes to ink paintings and fighting from a distance. While it's not likely, I would like to see him mix potentially poison into his ink, given both of his parents are training him, and given the fact that Ino does know medical ninjutsu, this would be something that would be rather easy for him to pick up, since Ino would be familiar with poisons. And I like to say that this isn't out the realm of possibility, since in the Boruto character profile of the Boruto manga for Inojin, Inojin is actually listed as being proficient in medical ninjutsu. While he's failed to master the Yamanaka clan jutsu, as stated earlier, earlier, this weekend in the anime looks like it's going to be covering him potentially mastering the mind transfer jutsu and using it in coordination with the Inojin trio, which opens up the door for Inojin to be a better assistance to Shikadai and Chocho. This becomes even more important when you look at Naruto chapter 700, where we see a very strict and very pissed off Ino overseeing the training of the Inojin trio, or rather getting pissed off at the fact that there's not any training going on because her son and Shikamaru were absolute no-shows, which is ironic given that Inojin was hiding in fear from his mother behind a tree while she was going off on Karui and Choji. The reason why she was so insistent on having this training done is that these jutsu or combination jutsu, they have to be performed in absolute sync. The Inojin formation has been passed down for generations, and it's a series of 5 separate jutsu combinations that each member has to master to perform, and the jutsu of their clan, they have to be able to use it in this formation and be in perfect sync with their teammates, which is going to take time for them all to get on the same page. Think of it like cooperation ninjutsu. You've got to be in perfect sync for that. Now his mind transfer jutsu, once he fully masters it, is going to allow him to turn his consciousness mind into spirit energy that allows him to take over the mind of his target. Now the downside to this jutsu is that while he's using it, any damage that happens to the body that he's possessing actually gets transferred over to his own body, and most importantly, his own physical body is left vulnerable to an attack. However, like stated in the Naruto manga, this jutsu should only be used when you're in a team setting and should not be used on a one-on-one basis. Now the other benefit to this jutsu is that once Inojin does master it, if he has an ally nearby, he'll be able to use this jutsu on his teammates and have his teammates take over his body. So basically he's transferring their consciousness into his body, and so that effectively eliminates this whole weakness that your body is left undetected because your teammate's going to be inside of your body now. Now his light string formation jutsu allows him to trap targets who are stronger than him inside of a ceiling formula. Like stated before, this jutsu is not to be underestimated. When we saw it in the war arc, Iruka was able to use it on Naruto, and Naruto was forced to skip right to his KCM mode in order to break free of the seal. Now his crouch tiger bullet jutsu is used when he draws a tiger onto a scroll, and using his chakra to activate the drawing, it springs forward, and once it bites into the target, it starts the process of sealing them away into the scroll that Inojin is carrying. Now the anime added a throwaway line that had it where it was stated that Danzo said that it wasn't chakra that brought out the full power of Sai's jutsu, but instead it was being fueled by emotions. Up until now, I've disregarded that info, but like I've talked to you guys about in the past, when it comes to Boruto, I'm realizing I've got to go back and I got to watch some of the filler because the Boruto series draws on a lot of the anime continuity when it comes to a lot of the jutsu and lore that is mixing into the canon material that you get from the Naruto manga. So with that being said, the reason why I think that this is important is because in the anime you get an episode in Boruto where Sai was trying to get through to Inojin, and it was dropping hints that Inojin's art works in the exact same way that Danzo suspected that Sai's jutsu worked as well when you look at the anime continuity. Now Inojin can also use the Super Beast Scroll jutsu, which allows him to bring his ink paintings back to life in order to attack his target, but he can also use it to transport himself and his allies through the air. This jutsu goes right back to the earlier point that I made about the anime filler that stated the emotional mind state of the user directly relates to the power of the jutsu, because in the Boruto anime we see that even the Super Beast Scroll will fail if the user isn't emotionally stable. While Inojin can't yet incorporate elemental ninjutsu into his arsenal, Inojin is still making pretty remarkable progress as a ninja, and given who both of his parents are, it's only a matter of time before he takes the mastery of the jutsu that his parents are teaching him and takes it to the next level. But what I want to know from you guys is, what do you want to see Inojin learn in the future, and most importantly, what type of elemental ninjutsu would you like to see him use? What change in chakra nature do you want him to have? But so always guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.